If you're a recent graduate or perhaps you're a parent of a young adult, that transition between graduation and the real world could be difficult. We've all been there. And to help you navigate your way to success, we are joined by certified career coach Tonya Pomerantz. Thank you so much for coming in this morning.
Thank you.
Your new book, Unlock Your Future, The 7 Keys to Success. What I love so much about this book is how conversational you made it so that both parents and children can read it. So easy to understand. Tell me, what inspired you to write it?
Well, after being an employment consultant for so long, I saw that there was a need for it, and it's effective and it's successful, and it's for all sorts of ages, actually, from young people to older people in the middle of their careers who just aren't happy where they are. So it's the same principles that apply for each, and it's an effective formula.
Okay, I couldn't help but notice that you brought a couple of props with you for this interview. So you have a ruler and you have some strings. So explain the context behind that.
So a lot of people go through life thinking that life is one straight line, where you go to school, you go to maybe post-secondary, you get married, whatever, you have a job and you retire. But life, in fact, isn't like that. Life is more like this. It's tangled and confusing and can be difficult at times. And so we created this roadmap to help navigate through those times.
There are 7 tips that you talk about in this book. If you can give us maybe 1 or 2 tips right now that people watching can take away, what would they be?
Sure. So the very first one is define what success means to you. So a lot of young people are saying, I just want to be happy at work. So you could actually say the 7 keys to happiness. So you define what that is to you, because for some people it's making the world a better place. For some people it's having all the toys that they can think of. So you define, okay, what is it for me personally? And then you define what your values are, what's important to you. And when you start living a life where you're living according to your values, that's where you don't have that internal conflict about what you should do and what you want to do, because you're living by what your values are.
A lot of times when you're speaking to parents and children, one of the big things you hear about the complaints is communication, right? The parents can't talk to the child because the child gets anxious and nervous, and the child feels like they can't communicate effectively with the parents. So what advice would you give to both parties?
Listen.
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 Yeah.
And truly be present when you're listening.
Yeah.
Don't be on Facebook or Twitter or making up your list of groceries for the week. Really listen to what each other is saying and understand where the other person is coming from. Parents don't always have it all put together, and kids are going through a lot of really challenging times right now. So if we kind of take a step back and really listen and think and openly with our hearts, we'll be able to navigate things better.
And I imagine patience is important as well during this transition.
Huge.
You spoke about having that passion, finding out what you love to do, but you know, it's sometimes hard to translate that into the work field and actually finding that job. So what advice do you give to people right now that know what they want to do but just don't know how to get there?
That's an excellent question. The idea, and we talk about this in the book, is community and networking. Very, very important, and to create a network and say yes to opportunities. And I know it's not easy, because a lot of people find it very challenging and they want to be, you know, behind a keyboard kind of thing. But get out there and find opportunities. We talk about it in the book. We live in such a world where, you know, things are available online as resources for further opportunities. So setting yourself up, setting your child up for success is crucial.
And supporting them in whatever decision that they choose. Because sometimes you're not going to get that job that you love initially, but you're saying you got to get out there, take those opportunities and see where it leads you.
So there's here's where you want to be, and you get on and you move up that way.
Okay.
That's the way to do
Tonya,
it.
I mentioned that your office is quite busy these days in Ottawa, or always has been. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, the book, Unlock Your Future, The 7 Keys to Success. It's officially being released this Thursday, correct?
Yep, big launch.
Big launch this Thursday. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.